wanted to do a reading, and the first thing that's coming through is like Tuesday, and today is Tuesday, and I don't know why Tuesday is coming through, but it's like coming up with like a notification, like it's Tuesday. Like I don't know why. I think it's about like being almost midweek and just wanting to log out. So it's coming through. Just wanting to be like end of the week, just go. We want it to be like more like Thursday. It's like it cannot be just the beginning of the week. I think what this is it's just exhaustion. I see like a lot of like attempts to try to take flight, and we're doing it. We're still going. We're still getting through the week. We're still doing our best, but we're definitely feeling drained. And it's interesting, like it's just Tuesday, so it keeps coming through. And like that, like it cannot just be Tuesday because the amount of things that we just feel like is just coming at us all at once as we're just trying to have a steady stream of like getting things done. Yeah, we're already feeling like we're a little energetically drained. So, one of the things that we need to work on is knowing that the way that we show up matters. Because if we're stretching ourselves too thin, people are going to feel that. Like when we jump up and we try to show up and we're trying to push, we need to make sure that we are showing up in a way that isn't like adding to others' exhaustion. Because we're here trying to be there for others, but we don't want to mask and we don't want to bring them further down. We don't want to like send people further into a descent and further burnout, and we don't want to sap other people's energy. So we just want to make sure that the way that we show up, that we're cool, we're collected, we're still pushing, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we're not focusing on accidentally draining people. Is what it's saying. So like we find that we are not going to show up in the best ways, that we need to recognize that, and then possibly step back until we do have the time to show up in the manner that we should. Yeah, it's being honest with yourself is what it's saying. So what is coming through with this is listening to your intuition too as you go, making sure that we are listening to the subtle hints from our intuition. Make sure we're listening to that moving forward and that we're not ignoring it. So if you get a pull from your intuition, do your best to listen to that and not just push past. And because ultimately it's just going to end up in making more work for you. So this card's coming through right now. So this is originality, idealism, and progression. So yeah, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to, and this is portal, we're trying to make progress forward. So if we show up in a way that is not creating progression, and then it's not towards our ideal self, then we're not showing up in the manner that we should. So making sure that we're analyzing that. If we're not adding to, then maybe we do need a break. Maybe we do need to step back. And sometimes it is just taking an hour or so and then coming back in a way that you can show up in the proper manners. Yeah, when you have a proper start. So this is opened third eye. You saw the email. Digital interference and inner conflict. So we need to make sure that we are not taking in too much things. Digital messaging that can be like scrolling on TikTok, like the news, the incoming things and messages that are just like constantly hitting us. So it's like inner conflict. So the things that are causing us inner conflict, we need to make sure that we're paying attention to not intaking too much of that when we feel like we're overwhelmed. It's a good idea to be informed, open those emails, right? But we don't want to get to the point where it is sapping our inner peace, because we are trying to come into this awakening. So this is like the open third eye, like we're trying to come into this awakening and spiritual awakening, but we also don't want to be set with this digital interference as we're coming into this awakening. Dodging growth like it's homework, fear of change, and comfort zone. Yeah, because that's what it does. When we sometimes go past our limits and we are too, we're just like consuming too much content to the point where we can't show up in the best of ways, then it causes us to try to get away from our, to stay in our comfort zones and to be afraid that change might be coming our way. And yeah, it might feel taxing to continue to try to grow and move forward. And we miss that healing opportunity that's in the background there. Okay, I feel like there's one more card coming out through here. Shopping to feel something, emptiness, impulse spending, and escapism. So this also leads to like maybe a little bit of self-indulgence, that we feel empty, impulsive, and we're trying to escape reality. And we're struggling with that when we over-consume, and then we try to avoid growth. So these are the things that happen when we try to push ourselves through, and we show up in not the best of ways. Because the ideal is that we want to have progression. And if we're pushing, and taking in too much of the wrong kind of content, then as we're trying to push forward, we're not pushing forward in the right ways. We're misspending that energy, is what it's saying. So, like, it's not necessarily about shopping, as the card would suggest. It's like what we put our energy towards matters. And so it says impulse spending. So this is like, how are we spending that energy? We're spending it on impulse. Right before I started this reading, I was in the middle of a TikTok that was really, really sapping me, full of a lot of energy. I was getting ready to do a reading, and I caught myself spending energy on that, and I could feel my battery just draining. And then I was like, I'm not going to be able to show up in the best ways. I need to stop that. I'm going to stop looking at that video for now. I'm going to show up in the way that I know that I can, with the best energy forward, spend it the right way before I finish that video, because I know that I'm going to be sapped by the end of it. I'm not going to be ill-informed. I'm going to continue to be informed, but I'm going to make sure that I put forward the progression, my energy towards my ideal self and progress before I waste energy on these impulse spending of energy. Okay, so I'm getting an energy burn from this one. So this is supposed to be an important message here. So this is upside down. So options. As I open to the abundant possibilities of life's path, I'm reminded that I always have unlimited options. Life is a buffet, and I allow myself to choose whatever makes me happy without limiting thoughts like, you can't put mac and cheese on your baked potato. There is so many things out there to consume as far as like digital goes, as far as like content, and we can ingest the good, we can ingest the bad, and we can mix that. What we choose to spend our energy on and what we choose to consume matters. And there's a lot of options out there. So we find ourselves seeking this stuff that drags us down, that makes us dodge growth, and it robs us of that healing opportunity, because we find ourselves hiding because we're fearing what's coming. We're feeding the fear. Then that's going to leave us in these, wanting to escape and misspending our energy, because there's a lot of content out there that you can be ingesting. And so it's not about being ill-informed. It's just about making sure that we're paying attention to what we're spending our energy on, knowing that it is a choice what we are consuming. And like I said, it's not about being ill-informed. It's about just making sure that we are putting our energy towards the things that we want to progress in, and our ideal versions of self and of the world, before we go into these escapisms and feeding fear. Okay, so these are the two that are coming through. We need to move into forgiveness, and we are struggling with that. And then we're also struggling with everyone's a teacher. So let me go ahead and read these. So forgiveness. Congratulations. You've been given one of the most powerful superpowers there is. Forgiveness. Imagine that you've been bitten by a radioactive forgiver. The point is that you suddenly have the ability to forgive people and their flaws, their bad days, their unkind moments, and their mistakes. And the best thing about forgiveness is that you can apply it to yourself too. Have fun wielding your new power, but remember, with great forgiveness comes inner peace. So this is about not allowing things to rob your inner peace. And I teach a different method of forgiveness, and that is to forget to give. It's in the words, it's in the root words to say that I'm not going to give energy towards that. So it is saying I'm not going to spend my energy on that. It's not to forgive what they have done and their behavior. It's just I'm not going to invest energy towards that person or that situation currently. I'm going to choose to forget to give energy in that direction for now. And then everyone's a teacher. Everyone I cross path with is a teacher in that moment. The ones who give me the fun lessons are the ones I call friends. The ones who give me the hard lessons I sometimes call a-holes. They've chosen a tough job, but someone's got to do it. So today I'm thanking all the a-holes. Thank you, a-holes, for playing your part in making me a better person. This is just about learning who we don't want to be. We don't want to give any more energy into these horrible people and situations because we don't want to be that. We don't want to be these people, and we know that. So staying informed is important. Learning lessons from what we're seeing is important, but we need to make sure that energy investment is going into the right place. So just pay attention. Pay attention to what you are investing your energy in right now. Don't let it rob your inner peace. All right. Love you guys.